Welcome everyone. I'm so glad that you guys are here today. I didn't realize I had so many things I was going to talk about, but Crystal pretty much stole all of my thunder. So, did she mention these? Crystal, did you mention these? Okay, sorry. That means no. So some of you had these on your chairs, or the chairs around you. This is just a little invite card. If you're talking to someone at the grocery store or out and about, and somehow church comes up, or what you did over the weekend, it's a great little way to invite somebody. Come check us out. We meet at the Spot. Where's the Spot? What's that cool place where they have bowling and a movie theater? Hey, and if you come, I'll buy you a round of bowling, or I'll buy you a movie ticket. You don't have to do that, but it's an easy way to invite someone out to the Heart. If it is your first time here or first time to church in a long time, I again want to say welcome. I want you to know that this is a place where you can feel comfortable to be who you are, whoever that may be. That the environment that we have here at the Heart is you can belong to this community without having to believe everything that we believe, right? So there's not like a test you need to take that will let us know if you can hang out with us or not. There's no prerequisite. You can just hang out with us all the time. The shindig we're having next Sunday at 1, everyone is invited to that. You can invite anyone you want to that. It's not a church people thing. We're not going to have a Bible study or anything like that. We're just going to be hanging out. So I want you to feel welcome. Go ahead and feel at ease. I'm not going to call you up on stage. Just one time, my wife and I, we were visiting a church, and they started handing the microphone to the new visitors to introduce themselves. I was like, babe, you sneak out, I'm gonna wait 10 minutes and I'm gonna sneak out. And we snuck out of the church. Never to return again. So I say that to say that Amber and I, my wife and I, we're aware of what it's like to be, it doesn't even have to be a church, right? Can you imagine like in a new community that you're hanging out with, or just a group of friends? Like, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody here? So we know what it's like. So just feel comfortable to be who you are right now, where you are. We are starting a brand new message series today. The way we do things here at the Heart is we take a few topics or a few passages of the Bible or maybe a book, and we will go through that over a couple of weeks, and we'll kind of dig into that and see what God has to tell us through that, some kind of practical steps we can take, some things we can apply to our everyday life. We try to do that here at the Heart, where we're not just giving you a bunch of knowledge, but things that you can actually take home with you, right? Things that you can take home and apply in your life and make your life better and do things the way you want them to be done. So we're starting a brand new message series today, and that is called James. James is the message series we're starting. And this is going to be one of those message series where we're going to focus on one book. Now, we say one book, but James, it's really more of a letter. Okay, it's a letter that he wrote, and it's only 5 chapters. And if you read the whole thing from start to finish, it'll take you about 15 minutes. That's if you read out loud. Some of you guys are really fast readers, like in your, you're skimming or whatever. Even if you read it out loud, it'll only take you about 15 minutes. So it's very, very short, but it is so packed with juice. James has given us some good stuff, some strong wisdom. Now, James, he is, every time I research James, people always call him the half-brother of Jesus, which I think is like a little, like obviously we know that God is Jesus' dad, right? But I feel like if any of you, maybe you're like me, if any of you have half-brothers, half-sisters, I personally don't introduce my sister as my half-sister. I feel like we're family, we're connected, she's my sister. So for the duration of the 5 weeks that we're going to be talking about James, I am not going to refer to him as the half-brother of Jesus. I'm going to refer to him as Jesus' brother. In fact, if you've ever heard somebody say, if you've been in church circles before or heard somebody say, Brother Dominic or Sister Amber, you ever heard people say things like that? That it's not like half-brother, right? Or brother through Jesus Dominic or whatever it is. It's brother. It's sister. So I'm going to start calling, James is just going to be Jesus' brother. We're going to focus on the Message Bible throughout this whole series. So there's different translations of the Bible. I should have said that, sorry. We're going to look at the Message Bible throughout this series. So there's different translations, but we're going to be looking at the Message. If you want to write that down or take a note of that. Faith under pressure. Consider it a sheer gift, friends, when tests and challenges come at you from all sides. You know that under pressure, your faith is forced into the open and shows its true colors. So don't try to get out of anything prematurely. Let it do its work so you become mature and well developed, not deficient in any way. If you don't know what you're doing, pray to the Father, He loves to help. You'll get his help and won't be condescended to when you ask for it. Ask boldly, believing without a second thought. People who worry their prayers are like wind-whipped waves. Don't think they're going to get anything from the master that way, adrift at sea, keeping all your options open. When down and outers get a break, cheer. And when the arrogant rich are brought down to size, cheer. Prosperity is as short-lived as a wildflower, so don't ever count on it. You know that as soon as the sun rises, pouring down its scorching heat, the flower withers. Its petals wilt, and before you know it, that beautiful face is a barren stem. Well, that's a picture of the prosperous life. At the very moment everyone is looking on in admiration, it fades away to nothing. Anyone who meets a testing challenge head-on and manages to stick it out is mighty fortunate. For such person's loyalty and love with God, the reward is life and more life. Don't let anyone under pressure to give in to evil say, God is trying to trip me up. God is impervious to evil and puts evil in no one's way. The temptation to give in to evil comes from us and only us. We have no one to blame but the leering, seducing flare-up of our own lust. Lust gets pregnant and has a baby. Sin. Sin grows up to adulthood and becomes a real killer. So my very dear friends, don't get thrown off course. Every desirable and beneficial gift comes from out of heaven. The gifts are rivers of light cascading down from the Father of light. There is nothing deceitful in God, nothing two-faced, nothing fickle. He brought us to life using the true word, showing us off as the crown of all his creatures. Post this at all the intersections, dear friends. Lead with your ears. Follow up with your tongue. And let anger straggle along in the rear. God's righteousness doesn't grow from human anger, so throw all spoiled virtue and cancerous evil in the garbage. In simple humility, let our gardener God landscape you with the word, making a salvation garden of your life. Don't fool yourself into thinking that you are a listener when you are anything but. Letting the word go in one ear and out the other. Act on what you hear. Those who hear and don't act are like those who glance in the mirror, walk away, and 2 minutes later have no idea who they are or what they look like. But whoever catches a glimpse of the revealed counsel of God, the free life, even out of the corner of his eye, and sticks with it, is no distracted scatterbrain, but a man or woman of action. That person will find delight and affirmation in the action. Anyone who sets himself up as religious by talking a good game is self-deceived. This kind of religion is hot air and only hot air. Real religion, the kind that passes muster before God the Father, is this: reach out to the homeless and loveless in their plight, and guard against corruption from the godless world. That's only the first chapter. James got some things to say, doesn't he? There is so much in there. There is so much just in this first chapter. We could spend 5-6 weeks on this first chapter, because James has so much to say, is so much wisdom. So much wisdom. That's what I want to talk about today. Is I want to lay the groundwork for the rest of this series, and it's acting on what you hear. My wife, she loves her some music, and I don't know if you know this, and she taught herself guitar when she was young. I think she was at home during a summer, and for a month straight she just learned guitar. Just taught herself guitar, no big deal. And she just has always had a heart for music, an ear for music, a love of music. She would always go to live bands, go to concerts, and in fact, when I met her, I'd never been to so many concerts in my life as since I've met her, and she would think, really, that's it? I wish we would go to more concerts. She loves music. And she, if any of you are married, or hope to be married, or think you might ever get married, or know any married people, there's this thing called communication that really is the foundation of any healthy relationship, especially marriage. And Amber, from time to time, will communicate to me how I can love her better. Guys, listen up. Ladies, listen up. Communicate how you can be loved better, right? Long ago, Amber and I, my wife and I, we threw away the phrase, "you should know," right? Maybe some of you still use that. That's okay, I'll judge you after this, not on stage. I would never judge you. You should know, right? Why are you mad at me? You should know. What do you want for your birthday? You should know. If you knew me, if you loved me, you should know. We got rid of that a long time ago, okay? So I tell Amber regularly, tell me how I can love you better. She'll say the same. What can I do to love you better? So one of the things that Amber says is, I want you to buy me t-shirts of bands, okay? Band, B-A-N-D, a band t-shirt, get it? Okay, Guns N' Roses, whatever. She wants me to buy her band t-shirts, and I say, I hear you, babe. I got you. And what happens? Yes, I don't buy any t-shirts. I heard her. I'm listening, babe. I hear you. You want some t-shirts? I got it. But I get busy. Maybe text me. Maybe text me to remind me that you want the t-shirt of a band that you love. So she texts me. Don't forget to get me t-shirts. It goes on a while. I don't get a t-shirt. I say, oh man, babe, I'm so sorry I forgot. Maybe, can you give me some bands that you might want the t-shirt in? That's what I need. I needed clarification, right? I needed more communication on what t-shirt she wanted. So she says, okay, here's some bands that you could get. Okay, I'm not saying you have to get these, but just kind of maybe get some shirts, okay? Got it. I hear you, babe. Loud and clear. You know what I'm talking about? Like direct eye contact, like I'm really listening, I'm facing her, my wife thinks I'm a great listener, and I'm a great listener. You want to talk about something? I'll listen. What do you want to talk about? This is my listening pose, you know what I mean? I'm a great listener. What do you want to I'm listening. You think that's what she needs me to do? Maybe. Maybe she wants me to listen, she needs me to hear her. But what does she really want more than she wants me to hear her? She wants shirts. She wants t-shirts of bands that she loves. It seems pretty straightforward. She doesn't want me to just hear what she wants. At some point, I have to order the shirt. And I'm happy to say that after all the shirts that she has wanted, all the time she has asked me, I have purchased one shirt that was the wrong size and that she can't wear. Sometimes the examples I give you guys are nice and tidy and I've worked on from that situation, but sometimes it's just the real deal and I just haven't bought the shirts. Why haven't I bought the shirts? Why haven't I? I couldn't tell you. What about you? Now it's time to bring you into my mess. You ever hear someone but forget to act on what they're saying? Your boss? Your boss ever tell you something, you're like, got it, and then don't do it? Some of you guys are like, oh yeah, I should do that Monday. Or tonight before I get home. Or before I get to work on Monday. Maybe it's not your boss, maybe it's and I'm guilty of this too. Maybe it's your kids. Your kids ask you to do something, parents, need your help with something. Can you imagine what it'd be like if Corbin runs into the house, he's like, Dad, I need to tell you something. I'm like, what is it, son? And I get down, What is it, son? Talk to me. This is my listening pose. Again, remember, right? I'm listening to you. What is it, son? I really want to play basketball with you. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. I love that idea. I love that you brought me this idea. And I'm hearing you, and I appreciate you saying that. And I turn around and get back on the computer. Isn't that silly? That's crazy. That's crazy talk, and it makes no sense, but we do it all the time. We listen, we hear, but we don't act on what we want to do. We don't act on what we heard. Maybe you do that with your relationships, your spouse. Sometimes I do. Amber never does that. She always does everything. Maybe you do that with your parents. Maybe you don't have kids, but you are the kid. Whoa, watch out. Parents tell you something, and you're like, got it. But then I remember I'm a grown man, I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. And I forget to act. And that's what I want to look at is, you can go throw that up there, Marcus, if you can. James 1:22. We read that a little bit, and it was, don't fool yourself into thinking that you were a listener when you were anything but. Letting the word go in one ear and out the other. Act on what you hear. Act on what you hear. You need to act. Because those who hear and don't act are like those who glance in the mirror, walk away, and 2 minutes later have no idea who they are or what they look like. We have no idea who we are if we think we can hear something and not do it. Ladies, maybe you're single and you're looking for a man who is a good listener. Anybody looking for a man who's a good listener? You don't have to put your hand up if you don't want to. You want a good listener, right? Well, you want a good listener who's single. You want a good listener. But don't you want a man of action? Maybe you want a man who listens to you, but don't you want a man who listens to you and then acts on what you tell him? Guys, don't you want to be around a woman who will listen to you and then act on what you tell her? Parents, don't you want kids who would listen? Just listen, you know what I mean? Not even act. You don't have to do anything. Just listen for once in your life. That's just me. Maybe I'm working through some stuff, so you guys. Listening is maybe halfway. Yeah, you can listen. Big whoop. You can memorize the Bible. Big whoop. You can listen to every Sunday message on the podcast, right? You can listen to all the songs that the band sings. Hey, talk about the band, right? One more time for the band. We had a whole band up here today. Look at us. Right? You can listen to all these songs. You can come every Sunday. Big whoop. Are you acting on what you hear? Are you taking what you learn and putting it into practice? And see, that's what James is trying to do, is he's trying to get this group, and by extension us, to take action. Do something. Take practical steps. That's what I want to look at for 5 weeks, is how can we take practical steps in our faith? Not just have the knowledge of faith, right? I can tell you what faith is. We can define faith. We can look at examples of faith, and that's great. That's fine. But until you practice your faith, right? Until faith is put into action, what is it? It's just knowledge. And that's what we want. We want action, not knowledge. We want action. Action is where it's at. Action is what's going to take us from this place to this place, right? Knowledge of how not to be angry, right? Memorizing the anger management guidebook is not going to keep you from yelling at somebody when you get mad at them. What's going to keep you from yelling at somebody when you get mad at them is, counting to 10 and reminding yourself that you're not going to kill them or whatever it is. That's what's going to keep you. It's action. It's taking steps of action. It's doing something. And it's not like this is not just in James. The concept of taking action is all over the scriptures. It's all over the New Testament. It's all over the Bible. This concept of taking action. I'm going to bounce over real quick to 1 John 3:18. I think I have it. Nailed it. Pro. My dear children, right? Yeah. My dear children, let's not talk about love. Let's what? Let's practice real love. We got to act on it. This is the only way we'll know we're truly living in God's reality. The only way. You can't just talk about love. You can't talk about faith. You can't talk about grace. You got to practice it. You can't talk about forgiveness like it's some kind of theoretical concept. You got to forgive people. You can't talk about love like, wouldn't the world be great if we all just loved each other? Like, yeah, so why don't you start loving somebody instead of flipping people off on the highway or whatever it is. Sorry, can you throw it back up there? It's the only way. It's the only way we're going to know is if we practice love, if we put it into action. I want to bounce over to one of the Gospels. Gospel of Luke. I want to read this for you. Luke, if you don't know, is one of the accounts of Jesus on earth. Okay, it's one of the stories of Jesus on earth. And I want to read a little bit, and these are the words of Jesus. Some of your Bibles, it might be in red. Check this out. This is Jesus telling the story. Then he said, Jesus, imagine what would happen if you went to a friend in the middle of the night and said, friend, lend me 3 loaves of bread. An old friend traveling through just showed up, and I don't have anything on hand. You go up to a friend. Hey, I got somebody coming into town, man. I really need 3 loaves of bread. I don't know what kind of party they're having. And we're having bread, mud, and water, maybe tea. I got somebody coming in. I need to borrow some bread. The friend answers from his bed, don't bother me. Right? Didn't even get up to answer the door. Don't bother me. The door's locked. My children are all down for the night. I can't get up and give you anything. Some friend. A friend of yours that you think you can count on in the middle of the night, you go say, hey, I need some bread. Your friend, sorry, man. I'm already in bed. It's really inconvenient. It's really inconvenient for me to help you. But, says Jesus. I love when Jesus says, but, because that means there's something really awesome about to happen. That means there's some real truth about to hit. So be ready for some truth that you can take to the bank. You ready? But, let me tell you, even if he won't get up because he's a friend, because you went over because he was a friend, even if he won't get up because he's a friend, if you stand your ground, knocking and waking all the neighbors, some of you like that? Waking all the neighbors, he'll finally get up and give you whatever you need. That's called persistence, or annoying, or aggravating. But we're going to say persistent. Because even if he's not going to get up because you're a friend, if you keep on knocking, you're waking up neighbors, you're making a scene, fine, here's your bread, get out of here. He's going to give you your bread. So Jesus was trying to tell a story. He was trying to tell a story about prayer, about asking God. And Jesus goes on to say, here's what I'm saying. Ask and you'll get. Seek and you'll find. Knock and the door will be open. But there's 3 words and they're action words. You want me to tell you them again? Ask, seek, knock. These are words of action to take that you and I need to take. We need to take action. That's where it's at. We can't talk about love, talk about grace. We've got to take action. It's your choice to take action. It's your choice. This is your journey. This is your walk. God's done the work. God has sent Jesus. God has made a way. God has given us forgiveness, grace, love, hope. They're all right here. Forgiveness, grace, love, hope, new life. They're all right here in front of you. But that doesn't matter if you don't take the action of picking them up, holding them, and saying, these are mine. Now I have love, and I want to give it. Now I have grace, and I want to give it. Action. Action is the evidence. You know what? I don't want to mess this up. I wrote this down. I don't want to mess it up. Action is the evidence of the faith we only talk about. Action is the evidence. You can talk about faith. You can talk about love. But the action is where it really happens. I can tell Amber I love her all the time. I can tell her that. And that's great. But where's the action? I can tell Amber I really want to buy her shirts. And I do. But where's the action? You guys have a choice today. You have a choice to take action in your faith. To take a step toward God. What's amazing about God is when you take a step toward Him, He's already made it the whole way. If you're walking away from God or you're not facing God, as soon as you turn around and you take that step, God is right there. It just takes our action. There's nothing crazy we have to do. There's no hoops we have to jump through. There's no tests we have to take. Just take action. It just takes us taking the step. Action is the evidence of the faith that you and I only talk about. I want to give you guys an opportunity today to take action. To take action in your faith. Maybe that action today for you is the first step. Maybe it's the first step towards God. It's the first step towards something, anything. You've been burned by faith. You've been burned by churches. You've been burned by people like me, church leaders, who would have you believe that we're perfect. We're not. You've been burned by a boyfriend or a girlfriend, by a husband or a wife. Or maybe you're kind of been along in this relationship with Jesus and you've kind of fallen off a bit. You don't know where you got off, but you started doing things you didn't want to do. And what's sad about us, about the human race, about humans, is if we mess up, we distance ourselves even further from God, right? If we mess up, we're like, well, I don't want to talk to God about that, so I'm just not going to go talk to him today. And you mess up again, like, well, I already messed up again, and I already messed up the time before, so I'm just not going to talk to God. I want to tell you right now that all you got to do is take a step back. Take a step back, turn toward God, and he's right there. He's right there. So here's what I want you to do. If you could, I want you to close your eyes and bow your heads for me. I'm going to close mine too. I want to give you an opportunity to take action today, right now. To take a step of faith. And for those of you that have never taken a step towards faith before, I want you to do something for me. When I count to 3, I want you to raise your hand. And when you raise your hand, here's what that's going to do. What you're doing is you're telling yourself and you're telling God, God, I want to take a step towards you. God, I need more of you in my life. I want you to help me in my life. I want you to help guide my steps in my life. I don't want to be a listener of your word, God. I want to be a doer. I don't want to just hear what you have to say, God. I want to do the things that you say. And for those of you who have maybe fallen away from God, and you want to take a step back towards him again, but you're scared, you're afraid. You're afraid because you feel like I should have known better. There is no should have known better in the kingdom of heaven. There is only with God and without God. There is only connection with the Father or disconnection with the Father. And if you have known God, you are no longer disconnected. You are connected. So all you need to do is reach back out and say, God, I am ready to be reconnected in my heart. I am ready to do it again. And I want you to raise your hand. Say, God, I'm ready to walk back again in the path that you have made for me. The count of 3. Everyone who's ready for that, if you're taking a step for the first time, or you're taking a step for the first time in a long time, I want you to raise your hand on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Put up your hand and leave it there. Put up your hand and leave it there. No one's looking around. No one sees it. This hand is only for you and for God. This is the action that you take. You can't just raise your hand in your mind. You have to take action. Put your hand up. Put your hand up and leave it there. This is your first step of action. Go ahead and put your hands down. We're going to pray. God, we are grateful for the action that has been taken today. God, we are grateful for what you are doing in the lives of these people here, the lives in the city of San Marcos. God, I thank you that because of what you did with your son, because your son sacrificed his life, that we are able to have an eternal connection with you. We thank you for your grace, God, for your mercy. I pray that people who today walk out of here, they would take a new step in the boldness of new life. That you would remind us throughout the week that there is action to take. That you have given us the place to take action with you. We love you, God, and we pray that in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.